I will start for this event today. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing in this webinar. Kindly ensure your microphone Zoom is mute to avoid interruption. Okay, thank you for your keen cooperation and attention. And welcome to our special guest today. Welcome to the Honorable Professor Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso as a rector from STEKOM University, and also Mr. Dato Xiao as a manager from ICCCM, and also Honorable Professor Gina García Walther as a academic operation and education coordination from the Autonomous University of Baja, California from Mexico, and also Honorable Natalia Venherska, PhD, as an Associate Professor of International Economics and Natural Research and International Tourism Economic Department from Ukraine, and the Honorable Mr. Xiaobo as a lecturer of Wuxi Vocational Institute of Commerce, China, and the Honorable Mr. Geta Chogeso, lecturer College of Social Science, Heritage Management Department from Debre Tabor University, Ethiopia, and the last Honorable Mr. Ahmad Zainuri as a Head of Study Program Entrepreneurship Department from STEKOM University in Indonesia. Okay, thank you all for being here with us today. Also, thank you to all participants for attending this webinar. We hope you will learn a lot of today. We have planned up for you to be fruitful and engaging. Further, for the square of their morning agenda, we will opening with Indonesian national anthems and continue opening speech by Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso and Dr. Dato Xiao. And after that, we will learning about culture from China, Mexico, Ethiopia, Ukraine, and also Indonesia. And after presentation has been, and we have a Q&A session for our audience. Okay, and then I will start for this event today. We will listening Indonesian national anthem. So, Mr. Solikan, the time is yours. Thank you. Okay, thank you for Mr. Solikan. And then after this next session, we will opening speech by Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso. So, Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Novita. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, it's clearly, sir.
Oke. Saya masih di luar soalnya.
Siap.
Wait a minute. Oh, Bu. Ini ada teleponnya bunyi. Oh, yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The honorable of speakers today, Professor Gina, García, Walther, Academic Cooperation and Education Coordinator for the Enology and Gastronomy Faculty, Mexico. Miss Natalia Venherska, PhD, Associate Professor of International Economics, Natural Resources and International Tourism Economic Department, Ukraine. Xiaobo, Wuxi Lecturer, Vocational Institute of Commerce, China. Teacher Gastronomy, Lecturer, College of Social Science, Heritage Management Department, Ethiopia. And Santi Widyastuti, MD, Lecturer of Graphic Design from STEKOM University Indonesia, and all of distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, this event with the title Get to Know the Beauty of Diverse Culture Between Countries is conducted by University of Science and Computer Technology, or STEKOM University, Autonomous University of Baja, California, Mexico, Wuxi Vocational Institute of Commerce, China, Zaporizhzia National University, Ukraine, and Debre Tabor University, Ethiopia, Indonesian Smart Teacherpreneur Association, or PTIC, and it is a great pleasure and an honor for me to deliver these welcome remarks at the opening of this international webinar. May I first take this opportunity to express my gratitude and appreciation, as well as extend welcome to all audiences and also all the speakers of today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of today's event is about the beauty of diverse cultures between countries. Talk about cultures itself. Culture is everything that describes a particular group of people. The group can be a family, religious group, or people from different towns, neighbors, country, or city. It can also be people who share a similar ethnic background, life dynamics, or work culture. Culture is often used to describe the features exhibited through history, language, food, arts, geography, family values, and beliefs. One person can have diverse cultures, such as family cultures, religious culture, age, group culture, or work culture. When all these cultures are combined, they give each individual their unique culture. There are various ways that both children and adults can learn about different cultures, as we shall learn. Ladies and gentlemen, culture diversity is synonym with multiculturalism. Multiculturalism can be defined as the view that cultures, races, and ethnicities, particularly those of minority groups, deserve special acknowledgement of their differences with a dominant political culture. Then the importance of cultural diversity can be interpreted on the basis of this related action. For example, recognizing that there is a large number of cultures that exist, respecting each other's differences, acknowledging that all cultural expressions are valid, valuing what cultures have to bring to the table, empowering diverse groups to contribute. So What are some examples of cultural diversity? Cultural diversity looks like in a workplace, having a multilingual team, having a diverse range of age working together, having policies that are vocally against discrimination, and etc. In a school setting, having students from all over the world, like at the University of the People, being accepting all religious practice and traditions that students part to take in, supporting students to share their cultures with one another, and etc. Ladies and gentlemen, the next question, why cultural diversity is a good thing? Cultural diversity is important because our country, workplace, and school increasingly consists of various culture, racial, ethnic groups. We can learn from one another. But first, we must have a level of understanding about each other. Learning about other cultures help us understand different perspectives with the world in which we live. It helps dispel negative stereotypes of people biases about different groups. In addition, cultural diversity help us recognize and respect way of being. They are not necessarily our own. So that as we interact with others, we can build bridges to trust, respect, and understand across cultures. Furthermore, this diversity makes our country a more interesting place to live in, as people from diverse cultures contributes language skill, new ways of thinking, new knowledge, and different experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe that's the only small part that I can share for you all. Formal discussion about the topic will be presented by our great speakers today. I hope after pay attention to all explanation from our speakers, we can know the beauty of diverse cultures between countries. Last but not least, I will say thank you for all international affairs staff in conducting this special occasion. Thank you all and enjoy this webinar and good afternoon.
Okay, thank you for Joseph for give the opening speech, and after that, after Mr. Dato Xiao, we will take a picture for documentation. Okay, for the next question, I'm sorry. For the next session, we will hear opening speech by Mr. Dato Xiao Chenpil. Yeah, so for Mr. Dato, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss MC. Honorable leaders and dear students, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to meet you all here online. First of all, on behalf of ICCCM, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the students and teachers who are now attending this training. Also, our sincere thanks to Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso, Rector of STEKOM University, Semarang. All representatives from STEKOM and all speakers, thank you for your efforts in preparing this event and ensuring its smooth running. The topic of this webinar is Get to Know the Beauty of Diverse Cultures Between Countries. Today, the world is fast becoming a global village, with many countries enjoying a multicultural environment. Understanding different cultures is not only critical, but it also promotes ample coexistence. Spending time with people from other cultures allows you to know what they struggle with and their traditions as a community. Further, you also get a chance to rethink any assumptions you have had about your practices and daily life. Such knowledge promotes personal growth while enabling you to learn new things about your culture. Also, I would like to briefly introduce our center, International Cultural Communication Center, Malaysia, in short, ICCCM. By 2021, ICCCM has over 600 partner institutions in China. In education, we organize overseas training and educational exchange for students and teachers. We also actively promote students from Southeast Asia countries to study in China and engage Chinese students to come to Southeast Asian countries for studies and internships. We also help universities to set up overseas training bases. We provide students with the most comprehensive information service on careers and entrepreneurship in Southeast Asia. Our aim is to create an environment of cross-cultural learning exchange and to facilitate the creation of first-class international universities in Southeast Asian countries. We hope that this training will not only facilitate the sharing of the content of the topic, but also promote future exchanges and cooperation between schools in a number of professional areas. We hope that all participants will be able to learn the culture of different countries during this training. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Dao for give opening speech. And the next session is take a picture and time for presentation. This will be hosting by my partner, Miss Nicole. Yeah, for Miss Nicole, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mamita. Before we start the session, let us take a photo together. So everyone, please open your camera. Let's take a picture. I will take a picture in a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicole, and I will be moderating today's webinar session. This is an international webinar on get to know the beauty of diverse cultures between countries. And the presenters of today's event are Professor Gina García Walther from Mexico, Associate Professor Natalia Venherska from Ukraine, Ms. Ni Xiaobo from China, Mr. Gastronomy from Ethiopia, and Mr. Ahmad Zainuri from Indonesia. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping notes here. Today's session is being live streamed on Universitas STEKOM YouTube channel. If you have any questions for the speaker, please add them in the chat and we'll be able to answer some of them during the Q&A session after each presentation. And each presenter today will have about 30 minutes for the presentation. Now, let's please welcome our first presenter, Professor Gina García Walther, Academic Cooperation and Education Coordinator for the Enology and Gastronomy Faculty from Mexico. Let's welcome Professor Gina García Walther.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy and really pleased to be able to share a little bit about my country. So I'm just gonna share a small presentation. Okay, so I'm gonna speak today about Mexico's culinary culture. I'm going to try to give a brief introduction. It's really difficult to talk about Mexico's gastronomy because we're a really big country and we have really diverse many ingredients and many dishes. So Mexican cuisine made it to UNESCO's recognition as Intangible World Heritage in 2010. And this is not because it's a flavorful culinary and a lot of color in the dishes. It's because it's a cultural system where people identifies among all the ingredients and the dishes that they make, and it's a system of beliefs too. We have been cooking all of these dishes since centuries. Of course, they have evolved and we have included technology, but we still have been using the same diet base of ingredients, and we still have been using the same dishes. So UNESCO describes Mexican cuisine as an elaborate, symbol-laden, and goes on to explain that this culinary tradition is exceptional as its ability to express community.
Professor Gina, your mic is muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
It reinforces social bonds and it builds stronger local, regional, and national identities. I like to take into account with my students in Mexico that wherever we go and we find someone eating a taco or a tortilla, we know they're Mexican. So all of these dishes give us a great way to find ourselves as a community. Also, our cuisine is a group cuisine. It has so many steps that it's a way to include a lot of parts of the family and a lot of people working at the same time to then share the meals. We have these main ingredients. We call it the Mexican Trilogy, which has been Mexico's ancestral diet base, which is based in corn, squash, and beans. And in the pass of time, chili peppers were added. All of these ingredients make a lot of dishes. I'm going to explain some examples, and they form our diet. It's really important, not because they make the dishes, but because they were the sustain of beliefs, and they were the main crops since pre-Columbian times. To these ingredients, we also added some other key staples like tomatoes. We have different kinds. We have red and green tomatoes. We also have avocados, potatoes, which are not Mexican, but we took from Latin America too. We use a lot of cactus plants, chocolate, and turkey. We have some key preparations that we use regionally in different forms. Here you can see some tortillas. To make a tortilla, we have to have a dry corn, and then we have to make this technique called nixtamal, where we make it digestible, and then we make a flour and turn it into masa, which then with our hands or with a press, we can have this form of tortillas or smaller ones. Depending on the region, we'll have different tones, but we all like, it's a thing that we use every day. Any kind of dish would go with a tortilla. We would mix it and we can roll it into a taco, or we just can accompany it with a thicker tortilla just to push any of the ingredients in the dish. In the pictures, you can see this kind of utensils. They are clay utensils. They're still used in houses, in traditional cuisines. And it's the main utensils for cooking are made of clay, steel, clay and rock. Another key preparation are tamales. Maybe you have heard about them. It's a way of using masa in another form. You spread it. We use the leaves of the corn, and you spread the masa, and then you can put a filling. It could be meat, it could be any kind of vegetable. It depends on the region. In the oceans, they use a lot of seafood. They can use clams, seashells, or shrimp too. Not only corn leaves are used to wrap these preparations, we try to use any kind of leaves depending on the region. So we can use plantain, banana leaves are really common to use them, and other kinds of leaves that will be useful to wrap them. As we can see, this is an ancestral preparation, and we still have been doing this because leaves help keep on the food available without burning. Usually this kind of dish is made with a steamer, but we could also dig it underground in some in field areas, not in the cities. They can do holes in the ground, put hot rocks, and they would make like an underground oven, and they can make also preparations. Another key preparation would be moles. Moles in Nahuatl, which is an indigenous dialect, would mean anything that it's shredded or that it's like liquefied. They used to do it with stones, grindstone stones, and they do a lot of moles. I cannot count the wide variety we have. In just one state of Mexico, we have about 20 moles, different moles. We can put any ingredients. The main ingredients would be chile, but we do a lot of combinations where we add vegetables, we add tortillas, bread, fruits like bananas or plantains. We could also add chocolate, so and spices. So it's a really complex preparation. Depending on the region, they would use special moles for special parties. For example, this one that you're seeing in the image, it's black mole, and that mole is used for the Day of the Dead celebration, which is held in November, which is to commemorate all the people that has passed away, and it's a way of sharing time with the ones that we have not here. So we have different dishes for different occasions too. We can have for birthdays, for baptisms, for Christmas, for the beginning of when they are starting to plant all the seeds, and when they get the fruit, they have another. So this is a very wide preparation, moles. In this picture, you can see in different ways we can find them, because in these ones and with the lady, it's like the final preparation. But before that, you can find them all powdered just to get home and start mixing them. They grind all the spices, and then you can prepare it kind of like a curry maybe. And you can also find them in a paste way. So you would find these big buckets in the market with different kinds, and the vendors will let you taste and choose depending on what you like. As I said, talking about Mexican cuisine, it's really difficult because we are a big country and we have many differences between our cuisines. I cannot say that Mexican cuisine, it's just eating tacos or just eating mole, because we would have to explain how all of these regions make all of these each of these preparations. So I'm gonna try to illustrate with some examples how these regional cuisines are divided and some pictures so you can imagine how food would taste or how would look like depending on what we are. This is possible because we are, I think, the fourth or fifth place in mega diverse countries, which has a wide variety of flora and fauna, and that make us have a big range of ingredients and being able to combine them in a lot of ways. Besides that, we are a cuisine that has a lot of influences. We cannot say it's just Mexican. We have our ancestry in pre-Columbian indigenous people, but we had some immigration coming still to these days, and all of their exchange or their cultural exchange has impacted in a very good way to our cuisine to make Mexican cuisine, which is what is today. So we have Spanish influence, we have African influence, we have Italian and French, and we also have Asian influence in the northern part of Mexico. We have a lot of Asian ingredients sticking to our daily basis eating. So the first region would be the northern region, and most of the ingredients used in that region would be seafood mostly, because it's the Pacific and the Mar de Cortés or Cortés Ocean, which is in between the Baja California Peninsula. If I go up here, talking about this, all this range, it's all the best. We do a lot of exporting of seafood to Asian countries. So one of our favorite dishes were in my hometown, it would be Puerto Nuevo lobster, which is just a lobster with butter, and we eat it in tacos, but this is not a taco with a corn tortilla. This would be a flour tortilla, and we eat it with rice and beans. And this dish was invented because the fishermen would have to help people who would go diving and to get some food, and they would have their lunch ready and they would have lobsters. We also have fish tacos, which is a really common dish also in my hometown, and it's kind of a breaded fish. It's deep fried, and we include a lot of vegetables like tomatoes and onions and chiles, all fresh, and we give a little bit of hot sauce, red or green, depending if we use red or green tomatoes. And in this one we use corn tortilla. And we also have a lot of street food. That's a really common thing for Mexico too. And in this part of Mexico, street food is based on seafood shells. So you can go to these little carts where you can find oysters, you can find clams in different kinds, and they just put fresh vegetables. We call it pico de gallo, which is tomato, onions, and chiles. And we put it like it would be like a cocktail, like a dry cocktail. And we put some lime juice and avocados and hot sauce, and it's a delicious way to start the day, because this could be mainly eaten from the morning till mid-afternoon. We don't eat this at night. You cannot find them at night, so it's really good. For the Northeast region, here we have an interesting combination of meat and seafood, but since all the states on the northeast region are a lot of meat producers, we have what we call grilled meat or carne asada, which it would be the perfect way to share with family or with friends. Saturdays and Sundays will become the rest days, and the food that will be brought in to share is this. So we have big grills. We just put the meat with an orange marinade, and then we make tacos. We have salads, we have sauces and tortillas, and everything's put into the center so people can make their own taco with whatever ingredients they want. Another kind of food are what we would call like comfort foods. This is found in houses, like in daily basis. This one is called enchiladas, which is a tortilla again, but we use a hot sauce to fry the tortilla in that hot sauce, and that's the way it becomes all red. It colors it and it flavors it. And in the filling, you would have cheese, and again, you would have some kind of vegetables and salad, some potatoes, carrots, and lettuce to accompany these kind of, these are not tacos, but they use tortillas. So this is a household meal. This kind of meal actually is eaten in the middle of the day for dinner, and we make dinner really, really late. We would be eating dinner from 8 to 9 until 11. So there are places where they just sell this kind of food. Pacific region. This part is where we get most of our popular dishes, widespread in Mexico, really different between them. We also have the use of meats and seafood. This one in particular is a soup. Maybe you have heard of it. It's pozole. And pozole is a ritual dish from the Aztecs. They used it for rituals where they would give this food to the gods. They say in those times it was made with humans, but when the Spanish people came here, they changed the human meat and the ritual effect of the dish for pork. So we use different parts of the pork, and we use a different kind of corn that it's bigger and it has a little bit more of starch, and we add a chile sauce that paints all the soup into this color. We add again salad to it. We put radish, we put some lettuce, and we could eat it with tostadas, which is a tortilla. And I know I'm starting to speak Spanish, but learning about gastronomy is also learning languages, because all of our foods have names that are only useful in this language. So hopefully you're going to speak a little bit of Spanish after this. We also have variations. We can have a green pozole, which would be a seafood pozole. You could also put pork or sardines. It depends on the recipe. And it has a squash seed paste. They mash it and they add a lot of green herbs or leaves, any kind, and they make this paste, and with that they would paint it color green. It's a really common thing in our dishes. They are really colorful. Most of our dishes will have 10 ingredients and more, and we really try to make a contrast between flavors, but with colors too. And if you think about Mexicans, they're usually really colorful dressing, or the traditional dresses. This second one are birria, which is a kind of, it's not a soup, it would be, it's between a soup and a roast. This is beef mainly, and it has a chile also, but this one it's braised for long hours. This kind of dish are the ones that are made underground, in the underground ovens. And after maybe a day of being underground, they use this for breakfast. And they make these tacos, and we accompany with some hot sauce, lime, and onions and cilantro, which I know it's not Mexican, but we use it for everything. This third dish, it would be grilled fish. We love to do this with a lot of seafood, and we just open it and put a chili paste on top, and guess what? It's going to end eating in tacos again. So tacos, it's the way to have all of these dishes. Finally, we're getting to the last regions. The South region is composed because a lot of chili eating, and they have a lot of moles. This one is mole poblano, which is the most known worldwide, because this one is the one that has chocolate in it. So it has the chili, the chocolate, and lots of spices, and usually it's eaten with chicken, but you could also use pork, and we use rice and beans to accompany the dish. I am not talking a lot about beverages because it's a wide range of beverages to talk about, from the spiritual, alcoholic, to the fermented ones, and to the daily ones. This one is called tascalate, which is a beverage made from, it's not chocolate, it's the cacao bean, and they grind it and they mix it with corn, and then they put a little bit of cinnamon and sugar, and they end up with this preparation, which is drink in the southern part of Mexico where it's really, really hot. They use it to refresh. And finally, the Southeast region, where is the Yucatan Peninsula. It's completely different oceans from the ones in my hometown, to the other side. But they do have seafood, but they are mostly recognized about their use of pork. And this is another way to cook pork. They use this paste that we call recados, which is a paste made from spices and achiote, which is anato seed, I think it's called in English. It's a really, really reddish seed, which it was used before it's to get dyes. So it's if you touch it, it would paint a lot. So they would paint things with it, and they use it to eat too, and it has a really distinctive flavor. With this paste, you put it in the pork, you braise it underground too, and you will have tacos. But mainly here, you would accompany just with onions, with vinegar, and habanero chile, which is one of our spiciest chiles. This is another example of dish, and this would be a breakfast too. We could call this papazules, and they are kind of a roll up with a tortilla, but in this part of Mexico, they eat a lot of hard eggs. So the filling is all hard eggs, sliced ones, And this green sauce is made of these seeds that are squash seeds. And it's really creamy. It's not spicy. And because it's not spicy, they added this red sauce that has habanero chile to get it a little bit of punch. So these are some examples, really different in between the regions of what we could eat in a daily basis. But this is also dishes that are really recognized in our community as Mexicans. We can find them locally, but we can also find them in other regions. So I tried to point out the most popular ones so you can have an idea of just the range of dishes we have, because this is just the tip of the iceberg of our culinary culture. I want to thank you. I hope you could learn a little bit, and I leave you my email if you have any questions or if you have them by chat.
All right. Muchas gracias, Profesora.
De
Thank
nada.
you so much for that excellent presentation. I feel hungry every time I see food. Yeah, even though I've never been to Mexico or any Latin American country before, but I would say I would like to try tortillas and tacos one day if I have a chance to go there. Yeah.
You need to try them. It's a must if you come to Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
All right. I hope I have this chance to go Mexico. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions for Professor Gina García Walther. Okay, now we have questions from an audience from YouTube. Her question is, how traditional food strategy compete with American or European food? Does Mexican people prefer traditional food?
That's an interesting question. Where I live, we have a condition of being in the borderline to the United States. So we do have a lot of food exchange, and younger people will be eating that kind of food. We have also a lot of American companies in our country, so it's widely known. But I think it has a fair competition because Mexican food, as I said before, it's really, really rooted to our daily basis. As you saw, tortillas are in most of the examples, because this is what for the Europeans bread would be. So we do eat food from other countries, but in our houses, a lot of people cooks Mexican food, and I think that's where the importance of our culture will get its strongness.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Professor Gina. For myself, I have a question. Every time I saw tortilla and burritos, I feel confused.
Okay.
And then, is it a tortilla is the flatbread made from corn or wheat, and burrito is a flat tortilla rolled out with a filling?
Yes. Tortilla would be, we call them corn tortilla or wheat tortilla, so we don't get mixed up. But both of them are tortillas. In the northern part of Mexico, we do not plant a lot of corn, so we use more wheat tortillas, and we eat more burritos. But burritos are not the American ones. We have Mexican dishes filling them. So, but we also have corn tortillas. So yes, the only difference would be the kind of flour, if it's corn or if it's wheat. Yes.
Yeah, so Mexican burritos are only eaten in the north.
Mostly, yes. You will find them in the center, in the southern part of Mexico. You won't find those.
All right. Thank you, Professor Gina, for your explanation. I think a very clear answer from Professora. Now, thank you, Professora, for your wonderful presentation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the second speaker. All right, thank you so much for the first speaker. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the second speaker from Ukraine, Associate Professor Natalia Venherska. She is an Associate Professor of International Economics, Natural Resources, and International Tourism Economics Department. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the Zaporizhzia National University, glad to be a part of this webinar, and we are grateful so much for your invitation. I would like to share my presentation. Could you say, please, is it okay?
Professor, we cannot see the whole PowerPoint. Oh, yeah.
Is it okay now? Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Thank you. So I would like to tell you about challenges and perspectives of rural tourism amid Russian invasion in Ukraine. And I'm an academic coordinator of Erasmus Jean Monnet project Debre about rural tourism. And our project team appreciates this opportunity to be here. So Ukraine is an independent country in Eastern Europe, which has a great historical, cultural, and natural heritage. And every region of our country is unique and has an opportunity to develop various kinds of tourism industry, including rural tourism. Nevertheless, the tourism has been stopped due to Russian invasion in Ukraine, and the recovery of this branch won't be repeat. But speaking about past position of rural tourism, our businesses had diverse experience, and you can see that the most popular activities, it was some private homes and cottages, active tourism, eco-tourism, cultural, and legal forms. In Ukraine, it was individual farmstead, entrepreneurial cluster, and some network in rural tourism, especially most important role it was for a non-governmental organization. So in Ukraine, we have National Tourism Organization of Ukraine, which did tourism marketing, and now it is calling for public expressions of solidarity and resist against Russian military aggression. And this organization made a lot for development of marketing tourism. You can see that we have a regional destination market organization and local, this network had opportunity to create really huge marketing promotion abroad. I would like to share with you some video which was created by this organization for the promotion of rural tourism. So like you see, this video shows that Ukraine is beautiful and was safe country for tourists, unfortunately. But for the last 10 years, the clusters forms and network have been developed by a local community, non-governmental organizations and businesses. And the most popular model of models of rural tourism cluster is clusters, and it's lodging and food farmstead, agri-tourist, and local historical. When you watched this video before, it created due to helping of such communities and network. These links between non-governmental organizations, universities, and businesses gave the opportunity to create gastronomic tourist routes. The most successful were wine and taste routes in Bessarabia, it's south of Ukraine, you can see here. But unfortunately, these areas now, they struggle from Russian invasion. And Transcarpathian region west of Ukraine, it's also not a safe place now, but at the same time, people can live in rural area more safety, of course. And when we speak about Ukrainian cuisine, we can't mention the most popular traditional dish, which is called Ukrainian borscht. And Ukrainian borscht is like traditional popular dish in every family. It consists of different vegetables and based on beetroot. Of course, we have different variation of this dish. It can include mushrooms, meat, fish, sweet peppers, and etc. And by the way, we had also not war with Russian, we had like cultural war, because Russia would like to get this borscht like their cultural cuisine heritage. But I think we won this cultural war, because UNESCO to include this Ukrainian borscht to the list of intangible cultural heritage. So also nowadays a lot of communities in Western Ukraine and Southern Ukraine try to make virtual museums which show Ukrainian cuisine, local dishes as a cultural code, especially amid Russian aggression. For example, you can visit this virtual museum and to watch our Ukrainian cuisine. So how the Russian invasion affect tourism in Ukraine? Of course, as we see on the map of Ukraine, Russian attacks around our country made our country dangerous for everyone, including tourism or visitors. You can see that south of Ukraine occupied now, and unfortunately all wine and gastronomic routes which was created here now it's impossible to visit. But at the same time, big cities in Western Ukraine, they are also struggle from Russian attack, but rural areas are more safe than cities, of course. So if we speak about Bessarabia near Odessa, because Odessa is like international port now, they are not occupied, but at the same time, Odessa has always been a most popular destination in southern of Ukraine. Before war, we had 3 million people every year, but now, of course, it's like tourism industry is suffering. At the same time, in wine and taste route of Transcarpathian region now is more safety. That's why here it can invite, for example, people from Ukraine who unfortunately should be removed from their houses. Also some current trends in general in tourism. Yeah, of course, not only Ukraine now has problem in that sphere. It's also countries who abroad, who are our neighborhoods. For example, the development of European tourism will face continuing negative impact by the war. Such countries like Latvia, Poland, Hungary, Moldova, and other countries. You can see that how many flights decrease, yeah, in this from February to May. So about in rural tourism, we have new some trends. Yes, for example, first I would like to say that it's displaced person tourism in rural areas. People who lived in southern Ukraine, they displaced to western Ukraine. While tourism in Ukraine is impossible, yeah, and life threatening, people working in tourism industry and destination marketing, they are changing their talents and efforts into humanitarian aid. And that's why now we have new trends, especially in volunteering and sharing accommodation, food, and some psychological help. Also, some farmstead, they have hosted refugees and help them to organize their new life, or, for example, to help recover after a stressful period. Also, tour operators, hotel and restaurant owners, they supported Ukrainian armed forces and displaced Ukrainians. Also, we have now like inter-region and international cultural exchange amid war, because a lot of people from abroad, they are visiting Ukraine to help our people, and we of course appreciate any help. Also, of course, we believe in our victory, but we understand how it will be difficult to recover our country and tourism industry. For example, some challenges, yeah, it's like massive redevelopment of our facilities. It's like modernization of international airports and seaports, and new promotion of tourist destinations abroad. Also, we think that, of course, it will be some new perspectives, especially it will be connected with new changes in the tourist landscape of Ukraine, and the creation of new elements of historical heritage. Of course, we need to understand how in the future we can implement of a broad experience to restore tourism after the war. Maybe some experience of Cyprus, Georgia, Croatia will be successful in our country. So also it will be some new tourist attraction and location will be added with some cities, not rural areas, but it's like Bucha, Irpin, and of course Mariupol. Unfortunately, these cities became famous not because they are attractive due to some touristic heritage, but it's like war tourism. And also we believe that in importance of health and wellness tourism, especially for recovering people. Also, it's like rural and creative tourism which help to people to recover. So we believe in our victory in this war, and Ukrainian young generation is interested in rural tourism development. For example, our students visited local communities. It was before war. It was in February, two weeks before. And they visited local communities and improved existing business models amid our project Erasmus Plus. And of course, we the Zaporizhzhia National University held the scientific conference and round table, which connected students, community, scientists, and businesses to discuss about diversification of rural tourism. So we will have new events in September and October, and we will be glad if you participate in this conference and discussion, and to share your experience in development of rural tourism and gastronomic culture. So I am thankful so much for your attention, and I share my links. Maybe you would like to write or ask something. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Natalia Venherska, for the amazing presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions for Associate Professor Natalia Venherska, please raise your hand or add a question to the chat. Yeah, we have participants, Al-Kinki.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay, thanks so much. Okay, I want to introduce myself. Please, my name is Al-Kinki from the Indonesian. I'm a teacher from elementary school, the 23 in Singkawang City. I appreciation for the trainer in Ukraine for give me information about the historical and tourism and the culture in the Ukraine. But today we show in the television from the invasion in Russia, it is very, very dangerous and probably destroyed all the country in Ukraine. It my heart is very sad, yeah, and crying. Okay, but I want to ask for you about the education in Ukraine. How development education in Ukraine today, and maybe is the go ahead or the stop, and maybe you can give me about the describing about how the system, the education in Ukraine today for the make continue study in the war.
Thank you for your question. Yes, of course, because every region and now has a different condition to work in universities at school. But our Ministry of Education, they decided to give some autonomy of decision for universities and schools, and they can decided how they would like to do it, like remotely, or it's like mixture system, or people or students can visit schools or university. For example, in our university, we have some question of our students how they would like to study. For example, like mixture system. For example, lecture. It's like online, and seminars they can visit. But we got the results of this survey that students, of course, they wouldn't like to visit any universities. That's why it depends on region and depends how much it's dangerous, because some rural areas, for example, in Western Ukraine, it's more safety than, for example, in south of Ukraine. It depends on region and depends on decision of local schools and, for example, universities.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but it is study the guide from the school and the online studying. Okay, thanks so much,
Yes,
Mr.
exactly.
you give me information from me. It's very good.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your question, Atindi, and thank you the answer from Associate Professor Natalia. And just now I saw there's one Wahyu you raised your hand just now. Is it Wahyu? All right, it's okay. All right. Yeah, Professor Natalia, I have a question here. In your opinion, how long it takes to recover tourism sector in Ukraine, in your opinion?
Oh, it's a difficult question, of course, but it depends on cities because, for example, especially if we speak about international airports, it can be 5, 7 years, and of course it depends of money and funding helping from another countries. Our GDP will cut down, I think, near 45% now, so that's why we won't have a lot of funding, for recovering. Of course, it depends on helping of another countries, and but we believe that if we are strong, if we are strong now, we will be strong next 10 years also.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Professor. Yes, please, Olena, do you have questions?
Not the only questions from Zainu too, and Zaporizhzhia National University. And regarding to your question, one of the possible time for the recovery of the tourism sectors will be 5-7 years due to many our territory now are full of mines, and we don't have so many time and possibilities to take safe for our lands, and it, especially in the rural territory, it will takes more time. But I think that the first step for the recovery of tourism services of our in our country will be maybe some virtual excursions, virtual museums, and takes some very short trips from the safe cities to the biggest cities with the part of the virtual and some interactive part of the tourism schemes. And that's all that I can add to the answer for the Professor Natalia. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Olena. All right, thank you, Olena, for your opinion. Professor Natalia, do you have opinion to speak up?
Yeah, I am thankful to Lana for your additional information. Yeah, because she just from our team, project teams. That's why she adds some information. Yeah, so I am thankful so much, and of course, especially these mines, they made the safety is dangerous. Yeah. Maybe you would like to ask something, or I can finish.
Thank you. Olena, do you have other opinion or question?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Olena, and thank you, Associate Professor Natalia from Ukraine. Thank you so much.
You.
Hopefully we'll have another session in the future.
Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Now, moving along to our session, please welcome the third speaker from Utopia, Mr. Getachew García, lecturer at Debre Tabor University, College of Social Science Heritage Management Department. He will deliver a presentation entitled Survey of Intangible Cultural Heritages of Utopia. Let's please welcome Mr. Getachew García.
Thank you, all of you. I will like to share my PowerPoint right now. Sorry. Okay. Are you hearing? Are you hearing me? Sorry.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. My presentation is focused on the intangible cultural heritage of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is an ancient country that located in the Horn of Africa. It composed more than 80 nations with diversified intangible cultural practices, and it is one of the few countries in the world and the only country in Africa to have her own written language with her own unique calendar. And there are different intangible heritages in Ethiopia. Among those, I would like to present some of the outdoor festive and some of them are registered by UNESCO, like Buhe or Transfiguration, Ashandiye or Maskat, Finding of the True Cross or Irresha, Chambalala and Epiphany or Tamgat are my focusing areas. The concept of intangible cultural heritage is relatively new, according to 2003 conventions of the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage practices, knowledge and skill that are transmitted from generation to generation, expressing the value and culture of the community. So based on this, I will try to show you some of the intangible cultures of Ethiopia. First, Buhe. Buhe, as the rainy season is nearing to end, and Ethiopian New Year is right around the corner. The faithful of Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church celebrates the unique outdoor religious and cultural festival. We call it Buhe on the 12th of, on the 13th of Ethiopian month, Nahase in Amharic, or August 19th. Buhe, also known as the Festival of Debre Tabor or the Festival of Transfiguration, is one of the oldest age annual religious and cultural festival. The event has been observed by the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church faithfuls to commemorate the wondrous event that come about the Tabor Mount and glorify him. The festival symbolizes the transfigurations of Jesus Christ on Mount Tabor, a place where his kingdom, the place where he demonstrated his divinity, revealing the glory of his kingdom before the three apostles, Peter, James, and John, in addition to Moses and Elias, and the event has a special meaning and message for the devotees. On the eve of the festival, the young boys making groups go from door to door in neighbors and perform Buhe song. The reason why boys perform the Buhe song is to emphasize shepherds or to played at the foot of Mount Tabor, making the day to the day of Jesus' transfiguration. In return, mothers give them a kind of bread, we call it mul. They baked for the occasion. And the next day, on Nahase 30 in Amharic, or August 90, villagers gathered in the evening to light a bonfire. We call it Chibo. And the symbolic meaning of lighting a bonfire in the evening of Buhe signifies the light of his glory that was seen on the Mount Tabor. It is also to commemorate parents who light Chibo to go in search of their children during that period. Likewise, the whip cracking, or we call it giraffe, activity that takes place when the holiday nears is connected with thunderous sound that comes through the cloud at Mount Tabor. On the days of the feast, people who are closely known each other give mulmul to the children in one another, in one another family by a number of children in that particular family to households. This is a representations of the parents who took mulmul to the field to give to their children. So Buhe, apart from its religious significance and symbolism, has a special cultural and societal value for Ethiopians. I would like to show you one video, the celebrations of Buhe in a field. They celebrate Buhe like this. The next festival and among the intangible cultural heritages of Ethiopia is, we call it Ashenda, Shada, and Solal, the name given for one festival with different naming. Ashanda is unique religious and traditional festival celebrated every year in Ethiopia, especially in Tigray and Amhara region. Between August 60 to 21, the name Ashanda is derived tall green grass that estimates around 80 to 90 centimeter minimum height. Girls and young women skillfully woven the grass into a bunch and wear them at their back while dancing on the occasions. Ashanda has been celebrated during the era of Aksumite civilization before 4th century AD. After the introductions of Christianity, the celebration took religious dimensions and was marked in connection with 2 weeks fasting season in memory of the Virgin Mary and her ascensions. In the traditions of this religious festival, girls and young women skillfully wove the grass into the bunch and wear them at their back while dancing on the occasion. Ashanda marks the end of the 2 weeks long fasting period known as Filsata, where the faithful in the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church gathered to honor the Virgin Mary. On the occasion of Ashanda, also known as Shadai or Ashandiye and Solal in different areas, the young women and girls dress the best traditional dress called fatal, which is a cotton dress decorated with amazing embroidery from the neck to the toe in front of the dress. The girls also adorned themselves with array of beautiful jewelry. After they gather in the village or city centers, first go to church early in the morning for pray and benediction, following by dance. Then they divide into small groups and they go house to house singing and playing their drums. They stop at every house and sing and dance for the people in the house according to the customs. People to give them money, food and drink and other items for their effort. They continue the whole day going from house to house and occasionally stopping in the village or city centers and singing and dancing for a while before they go on again on their tour. The gifts that are collected from community members during this celebration are offered to poor people who cannot make ends meet. Now I will show you some video that express my word about Ashenda and Shadai or Solal. Until it is working, I will try to express some ideas. A week or so far, the celebration started. The event comes to an end with all the girls from the village or the town come together in the center of the town or a village, singing and dancing until the sun down. This time the young boys join in more likely spectator than active player for this celebration. I will be back. I try to continue my presentation. The other festival or intangible cultural heritages of Ethiopia is Mescal, or the finding of the true cross. Mescal, or the finding of the true cross, is one of the major Ethiopian Orthodox festival. Is celebrated for 2 days. The legend has it that in the years 326, Queen Eleni, or Empress Eleni, the mother of Constantine the Great, discovered the cross upon which Christ was sacrificed. Unable to find the holy sepulchre, she prayed for help and was directed by the smoke from a burning of fire as to where the cross was buried. After unearthing the Holy Cross, Queen Eleni light torches heralding her success, and in the Middle Ages, the Patriarchy of Alexandria gives the Ethiopian Emperor David half of the Mescal, or the true cross, in return for protections afforded to the Coptic Christians. The Festival of Mescal, which is the commemoration fest of the finding of the true Holy Cross of Christ, is celebrated across Ethiopia on the 26th September, marked with feasting, dancing, and lively religious processions. The occasions usually start on the eve of the Mescal with a preparing of the corn-shaped bonfire in town squares and markets. Long tree branches are tied together and yellow dices called mescal flower are placed on top. The branches are gathered together in bundle called damara and set ablaze by the processions of priestess, believers, religious and political leaders, and the people toss flaming torches, which they are carrying at the damara, singing and special mescal songs as they circle it and around individual homes. Little damaras are built as well. The damara burns until it runs entirely into the ash. As it burns and collapses, the direction in which the damara falls is interpreted as a sign of or a portent, and rain is usually expected to fail to put out the fire, and when it does, the year is expected to be a prosperous one. In most villages, the celebration continues throughout the night, and the next day, which is the actual mescal, people often go to the spot of the damara and use the ashes to mark their foreheads with the signs of the cross. Mescal is celebrated nationwide, regardless of age, gender, language, or ethnicity. And participants are believed to receive spiritual reward from the celebration and blessing from the Holy Cross. One of the significant occurrence of the festival is the coinciding with the mass blooming of mescal flower and the golden yellow dioecis. The celebration culminates after the Patriarchy of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church lighting the bonfire. Mescal, the commemorate feast of the finding of the Holy Cross of Christ was inscribed the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2030. The other is Irrecha. Irrecha is one of the ancient ceremonial event takes place twice by the Oromo peoples of Ethiopia. And the Irrecha festival celebrated in Berra in September and October is a cultural expressions of Galata, of thankfulness, or Thanksgiving celebration of the Oromo peoples of Ethiopia for their god. They call it Waka, and they providing just Waka. They believe that Waka is providing life necessity of human being and other living things. This is because of the Oromo beliefs Waka is the sole creators of everything and the source of life. And Waka is also regarded as pure, omnipresent, infinity, or infinite, incomprehensible, and intolerant to injustice, crime, sin, and all falsehoods. And Waka can do and undo anything. They believe by this. And local dresses, traditional customs, and observe Irrecha with dancing, singing, and gathering together with relatives. And a big part of the celebration involves going to the lakes around Oromia region and placing cut grasses and flowers in the water to give thanks to Waka, since this was the celebrations of Thanksgiving. Waka is the local name of God, and for good fortune and prosperity over the coming years. The other intangible cultural heritage of Ethiopia is Fichech Ambalala, New Year Festival of the Sidama peoples of Ethiopia. Since Ethiopia is a home of different nationalities and with different intangible heritages, this presentations also shows this thing. Fichech Ambalala is a new festival celebrated among the Sidama peoples of Ethiopia. According to the oral traditions, Fiche commemorates a Sidama woman who visited her parents and relatives once a year after her marriage. So bringing borsuma, a meal prepared from false banana, milk and butter, which was shared with neighbors. Fiche has since becoming a unifying symbol of Sidama people. A unifying symbol of Sidama peoples of each year, astrologers determine the correct date for the festival, which is then announced to the clan communal events takes place throughout the festival, including traditional songs and dances. Every member participates irrespective of age, gender, and social status. On the first day, children go from house to house to gather their neighbors who serve them borsuma. During the festival, clan leaders advise the Sidama people to work hard, respect and support the elders, and abstain from cutting down indigenous trees, bagging indolence, false testimony, and theft. The festival therefore enhances equity, food governance, social cohesion, peaceful coexistence, and integration among the Sidama clans and the diverse ethnic group in Ethiopia. Parents transmit the tradition to their children orally and through participation in events during the celebration. Women in particular transfer knowledge and skill associated with her dressing and preparation of borsuma to their daughters and other girls in their respective village. The intangible heritages of the New Year celebrations of Sidama peoples of Ethiopia, which is known as Fiche Chambalala, was registered by UNESCO next to Mescal. Lastly, I will try to present about Tamgart or Epiphany. As a land of God, Ethiopia has been following the teaching of the apostles and started celebrating Epiphany at the national level in 530 AD during the reign of Emperor Gebremeskel. In 1140 AD, King and Priest Lalibela, as you know, most of you, the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, and he made an amendment to the existing traditions of the Epiphany celebration, by which he made a decree to urge all arks of the covenant, we call it Tabor, to be carried to a river or a pool together to place the water in order to blessing the water. And in 1426 AD, following the proposal from scholars, Emperor Xiaobo declared that the tablets be taken to nearby pools on the 8th January 80 and stay the night there, blessing the nation. And in 1486 AD, Emperor Naod also made an order that the tablet is escorted by the faithful in colorful processions. Following those traditions, the tablet are taken to a river and pools early afternoon on the eve of the Tamgart. Tamgart or Epiphany is Tamgart is a Giz word meaning immersion in water, similar to baptisms of Jesus Christ in his 30 years old by the hands of John and Baptist in the river Jordan. John the Baptist in the river Jordan. The word also denotes epiphany, which is derived from the Greek word epiphania, meaning appearance. Tamgart is the greatest colorful festival of Ethiopian people. especially those who follow the Orthodox Christianity. This festival is celebrated on every Tir 11 Ethiopian calendar or January 19 Gregorian calendar or Tir 11 Ethiopian calendar, with processions of priests carrying replicas of the Ark of the Covenant, locally known as Tabor, escorted by thousands of believers every year to commemorate baptisms of Jesus Christ by John the Baptist in the river Jordan. The celebrations of Tamgart or Epiphany starts on the eve of the main festival known as Katara, meaning to make a dam in Amharic. It is usual to make a dam in some places where there is no enough river water for the celebrations of Tamgart or making a reservoir for the celebration. Each tabot is carried overhead by a high priest to the nearby body of water, accompanied by thousands of church members chanting hymns. The celebration is also augmented by spiritual dancing known as Shibshaba, drum beating, horn blowing, prayer stick waving, and sister retelling. The Tabot and the people spend the night there, an activity that helps in performing the Tamgart ceremony, usually done early in the morning, the time Jesus Christ was baptized. The ceremony was begun with the pre-sunrise rituals, which includes Kidan or morning prayer and Qadase, a divine clergy. Kidan and Qadase was an Amharic name. These rituals are all followed by the blessing and sprinkling of the blessed water on the assembled congregation in the commemoration of Christ's baptism. At about 10 or 11 a.m., each tabot begins the journey back to its respective church. This evolves an even more colorful ceremony with a variety of traditional and religious songs. The young men and women deliberately participate in the Tamgart festival with the intention to find a partner and, if possible, a life partner. The Tamgart crowd or the Epiphany crowd is aware that the festival provides an excellent opportunity to find a boyfriend and or a girlfriend. Or Tamgart or Epiphany festival has importance for young adults to choose would-be loves, but those who come to exploit such an opportunity cannot afford to be a bystander. As a matter of course, they must articulate their wishes in the form of dances in front of all that have gathered, and, if possible, cast lemon fruit at each other to demonstrate love and affection. The occasion is also used to facilitate the flow of information, new idea and knowledge to and from urban center, and also for marriage engagement. Epiphany is also an important occasion to promote their social and spiritual life through reconciliation, whereby peace, respect, and cooperation prevail. This is all about my presentation. If technical problem is solved, I will try to show you some of the videos that highly express my presentation in practical. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Gasho, for the informative and interesting talk. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to Q&A session. All right, Mr. Gasho, we have a question from the audience from YouTube Live. The question is like this: how many sub-ethnic in Ethiopia? Is there any competition in culture in Ethiopia?
There are more than 80 nations in Ethiopia, and all of these nations have their own cultures, customs, and indigenous neologies, and they share each other, and they also appreciate each other, and because of this, they living together with love and harmony.
Yeah, as we all know, in Ethiopia there are more than 200 dialects spoken by the Ethiopian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as we can see, it's a country full of cultures, different cultures. Thank you so much, Mr. Gasho, for your interesting presentation. Now, due to time limitation, we need to invite the fourth speaker of today. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Gasho. Hope we can collaborate in the future. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. And following, please welcome the speaker from STEKOM University, Indonesia, Mr. Ahmad Zainuri, Head of Study Program Entrepreneurship Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ahmad Zainuri.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Nicole. Can you hear my voice, Miss Nicole?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. Okay, I want to share my presentation first. Okay, can you see my presentation, Miss Nicole?
Yes.
Hello? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, nice to meet you, Miss Nicole, and the Honorable for Mr. Dr. Joseph Teguh Santoso as a Rector from STEKOM University, the Honorable for Speaker, all speaker in this webinar today, and then the Honorable for the all of audience in this webinar international today. Okay, I will explain about introduce the culture, culinary, tourist attraction of Indonesia as a nation economic asset. Yes, this is before I presentation my material, I want to explain my curriculum vitae first, this Nicole. Okay, this is my personal debt. My name is Ahmad Zainuri. You can call me with Mr. Ahmad or Mr. Zainuri. My address in Pahlawan Street. Okay, Pahlawan Street, RT10 W2, Kabupaten Kendal Central Java. And then my educational background, period 2009 until 2013 as a bachelor degree of state administration at University of 17 August 1945 in Semarang. And then period 2015 until 2017 as a master degree of Human Resource Management at University of STEKOM, Semarang. And then this is my experiences in my career period July 2018 until January 2019 as a speaker of National Examination Strategy and College Admission Selection at Regional Central Java, Java and Bali. And then period May 2019 until June 2021 as Assistant Manager of Purchasing Department in PT Sasgrasindo Tama Tegal. And now ongoing period 2020 until now as a lecturer and head of entrepreneurship study program in University of Computer Science and Technology Semarang of STEKOM University. Okay. Next. Sorry, I cannot share my presentation.
Mr. Ahmad,
Yes.
now we cannot see your PowerPoint.
Okay, okay. Wait a moment.
Sure.
Yes. This is about Indonesia. Right? Indonesia is an island country with over 17,000 islands and is populated by more than 270 million people. That puts Indonesia as the fourth most populated country in the world. This number also speaks for its diversity of the nation's cultures, ethnics, religions, and language. As you may know that Indonesia is called a friendly country. The people are very friendly and helpful. Even if you barely know the words of Indonesia, Indonesian people will try to communicate and help you. Okay?
Mr. Ahmad, sorry for the interruption. We cannot see the PowerPoint.
Okay. I want to share again. Okay, can you see my presentation, Mr. Kwan?
Yes, now
Yes,
I can see.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Independence Day. 2 days ago, Indonesian. Okay, yes. 2 days ago, Indonesian commemorate Independence Day in 17 August 1145 until 17 August 2022. Okay. Before we continue about our material, please, I would like to help for all of audience to follow my words with say merdeka. Okay. Understand with all of audience. Please, I would like to help for all audience in webinar international this Zoom to follow my words merdeka. I will count 1, 2, 3, and you can follow with says merdeka. Okay, Miss Nicole, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Merdeka.
Okay, I will count 1, 2, 3. Merdeka.
Merdeka.
Repeat again. I will count 1, 2, 3. Merdeka.
Merdeka.
Repeat again.
Merdeka.
I will count 1, 2, 3. Merdeka.
Merdeka.
Okay, thank you so much for all of audience. So merdeka is a word expression of Indonesian people for gratitude because we are already free from colonialism. But not only free from colonialism, we must try to oppose poorness, stupidity, fairness, financial difficulties, and etc. Okay. The 77th anniversary of the Republic of Indonesia, the Independence Day of Indonesia. Indonesia, formerly known as Hari Ulang Tahun Kemerdekaan Republik Indonesia, or short HUT RI, or simply Hari Kemerdekaan colloquially referred by the people as 17-an, meaning the 17th, is a national holiday in Indonesia commemorating the anniversary of Indonesian proclamation of independence of 17 August 1945. Ceremonies and festivities are held throughout the country to celebrate this nationality, including the flag hoisting ceremony conducted nationwide and at Indonesian diplomatic installation abroad, local community competition with patriotic and cultural varieties. I hope the economy in Indonesia can grow and develop better than before. Okay, next. We continue with the culture about the culinary, amazing food. Yeah. Indonesia is a country rich in spices and all kinds of food. In fact, there are several Indonesian culinary delights, including UNESCO World Cultural Heritage, such as fast food Indonesian food that you must try. Okay, you must try this food. Number one, beef rendang, and then fried rice, and then Indonesian satay. Okay, if you want to try this food, okay, please come to Indonesia and we join together and we enjoy to eat the food together. Okay, Miss Nicole, I please welcome to Indonesia, and I waiting for you to come to Indonesia. Okay, and then this is number one rendang best food in the world. Rendang in 2011, rendang was ranked first as the most delicious food in the world in CNN International Foods 50 most delicious foods. For 8th time in a row, rendang continued to stay in first place until 2019. In 2018, rendang was officially designated as one of Indonesian 5 national culinary delights. Okay, number 2, this is fried rice. Okay, Indonesian fried rice and its reputation has taken the world by storm. Fried rice is a food in the form of fried and rice and fried in cooking oil, margarine, or butter. Usually added sweet soy sauce, shallots, garlic, tamarind, pepper, and other spices such as eggs, chicken, and crackers. The specialty of fresh rice in the mixture of spices that affect the taste. That's why there are variety of fried rice in Indonesia. Okay, number 3. Indonesian satay, chicken satay. Chicken satay, you must try this. Okay, chicken satay is a typical Indonesian food. Chicken satay is made from chicken meat. And general chicken satay is cooked by grilling using charcoal and served with a choice of peanut sauce or soy sauce. This satay is usually served with lontong or rice. Okay, this is attraction of Indonesia. Okay, attraction of Indonesia. We have Tari Kecak Bali, and then we have atraksi lompat batu, and we have karapan sapi. This is the most famous attraction of Indonesian, the edge of the world. Okay, Tari Kecak Bali. Tari Kecak Bali, in addition to the Barong and Jengger dance, one of the iconic tourist attraction in Bali that should not be missed is the Kecak dance performance. Initially, the Kecak dance is an ancient Balinese ritual called Sahyang, which aims to ward off evil spirits. Okay. Number two, atraksi Batu Lompat in Nias. The tourist attraction of the Bawumata Luo tourism village, Nias, North Sumatra. This is culture in North Sumatra. One of part of North Sumatra in Indonesia is also quite iconic, namely the stone jump. Stone jump. So referred to as Humbu Batu or Fahumbu is the Nias language. Stone jumping was originally tradition carried out as a condition for youth to take part in war. However, instead of jumping over ordinary rocks, the humble batu attraction is performed by jumping over a 2 meter high rock with a width of 40 centimeters. Maybe you wanna try, Miss Nicole, atraksi batu lompat. Okay. Okay, the next, this is from Madura. From Madura, Karapan Sapi, for the Madura's community, Karapan Sapi is not just a co-racing activity in ordinary traditional ceremony, but to raise the dignity of the Madures. Therefore, the costs used are not arbitrary. The costs used for caravan costs are given the best message and goods. So, costs they will give the best message and foods. So they can run just co-racing activity. During Caravan Sapi, tourists do not only see the race. However, you will also see the ritual of cow went around the racetrack accompanied by Saronen music, Madura's musical instrument. After that, the cow race began to run. Okay, and then tourism. Tourism, the best, the famous tourism from Indonesia in the east of the world is Kuta Beach in Bali, and then Tanah Lot Bali and Pandora Beach in Bali. Okay, why is Bali famous abroad? Bali is a mainstay tourist destination. It's in Indonesia, which is very famous in the world. This is because Bali has a variety of beautiful and varied natural attraction. This natural beauty is supported by uniqueness of Balinese culture, which is very closely related to Hinduism. Okay, then Kuta Beach. Kuta Beach is a tourism place located in Kuta Subdistrict, south of Denpasar City, Bali, Indonesia. This area is tourist destination for foreign tourists and has become mainstay tourist attraction on the island of Bali since the early 1970 years. Okay, and then Tanah Lot Bali. Tanah Lot Temple is one of the most sacred temples in Bali, Indonesia. Here, there are two temples located on a large rock. One is located on a boulder, and the other is located on a cliff similar to Uluwatu Temple. Tanah Lot Temple is part of Kahyangan Temple. Okay, the last is Pandora Beach from Bali. Pandora Beach is one of the tourist areas in the South Kota area, Badung Regency. This beach is located behind the hills and is often referred to as the secret beach. Around this beach, there are two very large cliffs on one side of which 5 statues on Pandavas and Kunti are carved. Okay. Yes, thank you. This is culture from Indonesia, and then culinary from Indonesia, And then tourist attraction from Indonesia, the most famous is the East of the world. Okay, thank you, Miss Nicole.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad.
Yeah.
Yeah, from your presentation, when I see Bali, all I can think is a beautiful beach,
Yes,
and
of course.
I really want to go there someday.
Yes,
I really wish to
I
go.
want to waiting for you to coming to Indonesia in Bali. Yes.
Yeah, of course. And in the beginning of your presentation, you
Yeah.
talk about Merdeka, and
Yes,
Merdeka is also
Merdeka.
the same in Malaysia. We also use Merdeka as independence, and Malaysia's Independence Day is soon, 31st of August.
Oh,
31st of August.
oh,
Yes, we are celebrating our Independence Day soon.
okay.
So, talking about the tourism, there are one question from Alexei Lysenko from Ukraine, an audience from YouTube. Her question is Bali now able to be visited by foreigners?
Yes.
So we can go Bali now.
Yes. Effect from COVID-19, economic in Bali, tourism in Bali decreased. But after COVID-19 don't decrease, and so starting and now starting to increasing the growth of economic in Bali with the tourism in Bali. Okay.
I see. For a tourist like me, I want to go to Bali someday. Like the expenses in Bali, is it expensive than other place in Indonesia?
Yes, many place in Indonesia, so you can visit it to Bali because actually in Indonesia has a lot of culture. Has a lot of culture in Indonesia because we cannot to explain one by one because so much about few tourism in Indonesia. So you can waiting to Indonesia, come to Indonesia, and then we can accompany you to traveling in Indonesia, and then we can looking for the few beautiful in Indonesia. Okay.
Sure. I would like to try many foods in Indonesia, and because rendang, we also have rendang in Malaysia, but I don't know what's the difference. And also
different taste,
satay.
maybe for
Yeah.
Indonesia and Malaysia.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can try to Indonesia and then you can taste rendang from Indonesia. Maybe
Yeah.
different taste from Indonesia and from Malaysia.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to try someday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad,
Yes.
for your presentation. Thank you so much. Hopefully, we can have a collaboration in the future.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss
Thank
Nicole.
you.
I will waiting for you to come to Indonesia soon. Okay, thank you, Nicole.
Sure, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad, for the wonderful presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the last presenter of today. Let's welcome Miss Ni Xiaobo from China. She's a lecturer in the School of Tourism and Culinary Arts of Wuxi Vocational Institute of Commerce, and she'll be delivering a presentation with a theme of Aroma of the Tea Ceremony, Chinese tea. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Ni Xiaobo. 倪老师。
Yeah, I think we need to hold on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think Miss Ni has some technical issues here. So please wait for a minute.
Eh, 倪老师。
好，看到了吗？
Good afternoon, Miss Ni。倪老师你好，这里可以看得见您的摄像头画面和麦克风
好，
声音。
我来用手机也进一下。
好的。
手机的。
好的，倪老师，您的 PPT 已经正在共享了。
好。
好。
STEKOM。
好，倪老师在开始之前呢，有一个问题就是同学们可能想要求可以获得您的这个 PPT 吗？
可以。
好的，
可以。
谢谢倪老师。All right, everyone. The PowerPoint of Miss Ni can be shared to you all.
手机在连接，很快。
好，老师您可以先开始，然后我们待会就会把那个泡茶的那个画面也播放出来。
好。好，我们现在可以开始了，对吧？
可以的。
好。那个，我们各位国际友人，大家下午好。那很高兴在这里给大家分享我们中国的功夫茶。那功夫二字呢，基本的释义有时间、花费的精力与人力，还有呢，比如说经训练所获得的能力、本领、造诣。第四层含义是细致、精微、讲究。第五层含义是工作。在中国有这个功夫这两个字，功夫这两个字会有两个，就是5层基本的含义。
So, dear friends from overseas, it's such a pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you on the topic on Chinese Kung Fu tea in our contemporary life. So first of all, I would like to share with you the definition of Kung Fu. So what does it mean of Kung Fu in Chinese? So Kung Fu in Chinese, it means works. And it actually contains, these two words itself actually contains at least 5 layers of meaning. So at the first layer, you can understand it as Kung Fu is something time demanding. And at the second layer, it refers to requiring efforts and skills. And the third layer is that it refers to ability, attainment, skills acquired through trainings. And at the fourth layer, it also refers to, or it has the meaning of meticulousness or refinement and care. And then of course, the last layer, the fifth layer, by the word itself, it also simply means work.
好，我们第二张 PPT 切到第二张 PPT 啊，我们今天这个何为中国功夫茶，解读一下中国功夫茶。何为中国功夫茶？简单来说呢，就是用考究的器具和方式冲泡制作精良的茶，并细致品鉴。它不单指一种或者一类茶叶，也包含对茶叶的冲泡和品鉴的技法。
So what is Gong Fu tea? What is Chinese Gong Fu tea exactly? To put it in a simpler way, it is about the careful brewing and tasting of a well-made tea using a set of elaborate utensils and tea wares, and also applying relevant techniques. And it does not only refer to a particular type of tea or any category of tea, but it is more about entailing a whole set of techniques of brewing and tasting the tea.
好，下一张 PPT。好，再下一张。中国功夫茶的特征主要包含4个方面：第一，用器精巧；第二，茶叶精工；第三，这个技艺精进；第四，品鉴精细。我们称为器精巧、茶精工、艺精进、品精细。而且因程序比较多，讲究细品，需花费一定的时间。
So when we further explore into the characteristic or the uniqueness of Chinese Gong Fu tea, they are actually containing 4 aspects. So one by one, I would like to elaborate on them. So the first aspect is actually focusing on the use of a set of exquisite utensils. And then the second aspect is about the exquisite workmanship of the tea leaves. And then the third is about the refinement of the techniques. And then the fourth is the delicacy in tasting. And because of the many procedures and delicate practices or delicate feelings that you need to employ during tasting, so it actually takes time. So you need to slow down to enjoy the whole process.
好，下一张。好，用器精巧。冲泡功夫茶的器具都很精致，容量要小。就比如泡茶的小壶，我这个手上的有一把这样的这个泡茶的小壶，容量就在130毫升左右。所以我们选择功夫茶泡茶小壶的容量不要超过150毫升。品茶的杯子呢也要非常的小非常的小，白薄透，这样喝茶香气饱满，滋味浓郁。被称为中国功夫茶的这个活化石的潮州功夫茶呢，有喷茶4宝，分别是这个我们的这个，大家可以看一下我把镜头转过来这个分别是这样的一个红泥炉，还有一把沙挑红泥炉和沙挑，这是2个宝贝了。第3个就是我们刚刚讲的这个我们的紫砂壶第4个呢是我们品茶的这个小杯分别就是生火的红泥炉、烧水的沙挑、泡茶的紫砂壶、 和这个品茶的小品杯啊，品茶的小品杯，在中国这些器具还有特别的代称，比如制作精绣的这个精巧的紫砂壶被称为孟城罐。孟城是一个人名，他是清代制壶大师。好。
And then when we look further into the first aspect on exquisite utensils, so we will talk about the delicate teawares one by one. So the utensils used for brewing work or brewing tea are very delicate. So their sizes and volume should be small. So for example, the capacity of the small size teapot for brewing tea should not exceed 150 ml, just like the first one that we have seen at the very beginning, a small size teapot. And then the cup for tea tasting should also be in small size. And normally they are in white color, they are very thin, and they are transparent or sometimes semi-transparent. So because they are small and thin, so that the aroma of the tea will be more fully evaporated, and the taste will be more rich. And in Chaozhou, Chaozhou is a location in China. In Chaozhou's Gongfu tea, known as the living faucet in Chinese tea tasting or the art of tea making. So in Gongfu tea, it actually contains 4 treasures for cooking tea. So the 4 treasures are what we are seeing here on the slide as well. They are representing each components in the teaware set. So in these 4 treasures, we will also look into them one by one. So first one, it is a red color clay stove for making fire. And then on top of it, there is a pottery kettle for boiling water. Then you will have a purple clay teapot, or sometimes we call it gaiwan in Chinese. This is for brewing tea, or the pot that holds the tea leaf. Okay, so a small tasting cup is the one that you will use to drink the tea. So in China, these utensils or teawares are also known by their own name. For example, the exquisitely crafted purple clay teapot has the name of Mengchen teapot. And then this is a name of a man who was a master of teapot making in the Qing dynasty of China.
好，下一张 PPT。第二方面是我们的这个茶叶，我们来聊一聊功夫茶里边的一个标配茶。
And then we will look into another important component, which is the exquisite workmanship of the tea leaves. So tea leaf is an essential element in tea making.
好，切换，请麻烦切换下一张 PPT。这就是刚刚咱们看到的实物的这个炉和砂挑啊，来再下一张。
So this is the clay stove and the teapot.
好，我们功夫茶里边的这个茶叶精工，功夫茶冲泡最多的是乌龙茶，以凤凰单丛为代表，产自广东潮州凤凰山，被称为可以喝的香水，香型十分丰富，有蜜兰香、栀子花香、玉兰花香、芝兰花香、杏仁香等等。乌龙茶的滋味也很醇厚，耐泡。一泡茶可以反复冲泡7泡以上。那大家可以看到的这个茶叶啊，是我们的凤凰单丛，一会儿我会冲泡这款茶叶。 好，麻烦翻译。
As we're talking about tea leaves now, so here I would like to introduce to you one kind of tea leaves, which is called the phoenix tea, or it also called the Fenghuang Danchong in Chinese. It is a kind of oolong tea. So oolong tea is the most popular type of tea in Gongfu tea. So represented in the category of phoenix tea, and it is produced in the Phoenix Mountains in Chaozhou, in the Guangdong province of China. So this kind of tea, it is also known as a perfume that you can drink because it has many different aromas, so such as the aromas of honey orchard, Cape jasmine, or white Michelia aroma, or even apricot cannels aroma, all sorts of them. So oolong tea, it is also very rich in flavors, and the taste is lasting in brewing. So a single portion of teapot brewing can be brewed repeatedly for more than 7 times in a single brew. So the one that is sharing now, it is the type of the phoenix tea, and this is the tea that I will be brewing it now to do a live demonstration for all of you.
好，下一张 PPT。好，功夫茶特别讲究技艺，也就是冲泡的方法。要把功夫茶泡好喝呢，必须注意以下几点。第一，水温要高，要用沸水。第二，投茶量要充足，我们这样的壶要放7克左右。第三，快速出汤，茶叶不要浸泡太久，否则会苦涩。传统的潮州功夫茶有21式，已经是中国非物质文化遗产。不过在生活中，为了方便操作，会简单一点。接下来我会给大家演示整套生活实用的功夫茶流程。
So now we want to look into the delicate skills that we will use when we are brewing the Gongfu tea. So Gongfu tea is particularly skillful. We are talking about the method of making it. And then the following procedures or the following point must be take note in order to make a good cup of Gongfu tea. So the first step will be the water temperature should be high. You should use boiling water. And the second important point is that the amount of tea leaves should be sufficient. So a small pot like that I just showed to you earlier, you need to use about 7 grams of tea leaves. And then the third point is that the tea soup should be poured out quickly. And then the tea leaf should not be steeped for too long. Otherwise, it will become much more bitter. And then there are actually a total of 21 steps when you are handling the traditional Chaozhou style of Gongfu tea. So this 21 step of Gongfu tea making, actually, it has become a Chinese intangible cultural heritage. But for our normal people's day-to-day life, we actually use a little easier steps to operate for our convenience. So next, I will demonstrate to you simpler versions of the practical lifestyle Gongfu tea making process.
好，请这个切换到我们这个操作的这个画面。我现在开始给大家演示一下我们生活里简易功夫茶的这个9式。那么大家也可以有机会啊，大家可以把这个过程学习一下，因为我们的课程也设置了啊，可以自己在家可以尝试一下我们中国的功夫茶。好。
So now I will share with you the process of how to brew cups of authentic Gongfu tea with the sets of teaware that I've just mentioned. And if you have gotten a chance to get hold of a set of this kind of teawares, I strongly encourage you to try it out yourself.
好，第一是备茶列器，
So the
第二
first
是
step
煮水候汤，现在第三是烫壶温杯。
So we have seen step 1, 2, 3 as of now. So step 1 is preparing the tea and the teaware. And step 2 is to boil hot water. And then step 3 is to warm up the teapot as well as
第
the
四是
teacups.
纳茶、赏茶、纳茶。
And step number 4, it is putting the tea leaves into the teapot.
第五是烘茶冲点，
And then step number 5, brew the tea leaves or to steam it, steep it inside the teapot.
刮顶灵媒，
Before you put the lid on, you need to scrape away the top of the tea foams, and then you cover the lid, and then rinse another layer of hot water on the body of the teapot to make the temperature even better.
第七是悬壶滴针，
And then step number 7 now, it is swirling the teapot or moving the teapot, pouring the tea in a circular movement and pour the tea at a lower height and evenly pour teas into the teacups.
第八是恭请敬茶，
And step number 8, invite your guests to drink the tea.
第九是品香审韵，
And finally, step number 9, it is to smell the fragrance or the aroma of the tea and taste it.
好，我们要用食指和拇指，食指、拇指捏住杯身，大拇指抵住杯底，3根手指像3条龙护住杯子，称为3龙护鼎。先闻香，再品味道。喝功夫茶用啜饮可以吸出声音。茶汤吸入口中要停留片刻，让舌头味蕾充分接触茶汤，这样滋味品的才细致。然后咽下去，感受茶汤过喉的顺滑舒服。最后闭上嘴巴，鼻子呼气，感受茶香。好茶还会有生津回甘，让人回味无穷。
So after you are done with the brewing and when you are holding the teacups, so how you hold it? So the method is by using your index finger and your thumb finger to pinch the fringe of the cup, the edge of the cup, and then using your middle finger to hold at the bottom spot of the cup. So this 3 finger will form like a steady shape to hold the cup steadily. So this is like 3 dragons protecting the cup. So firstly, smell the fragrance from the teacup and then take a sip to taste it and drink the tea with sipping. And you are allowed to sip out loud. So let the tea soup stay in your mouth for a moment so that your tongue and your taste bud can fully contact with the tea soup so that the taste will be even better tasted, and then swallow it to feel the tea soup overflowing down from your throat in smoothly and in a very comfortable way. And finally, close your mouth. Use your nose to exhale in order to feel the fragrance. And a good tea will also have a sweet fragrance that will leave you with an endless aftertaste in your mouth.
好，最后一张 PPT。好，茶是最健康的饮品，有很多有益于身体的功效。但是呢，前提是喝对茶。最后我们再来聊一聊生活里边如何科学饮茶。第一，要根据自己的这个个人身体体质来喝茶。女人、老人多饮发酵类温和的茶，如这个乌龙、红茶、熟普；男士则可多饮不发酵的绿茶，如白茶、生普，可解毒、抗氧化。第二，春夏秋冬喝茶有所侧重。春天多饮花茶，夏天多饮白茶和绿茶，秋天多饮乌龙茶，冬天多饮红茶和黑茶。第三，一天饮茶的合理量是7到10克，也就是约2泡茶。
So tea is the healthiest of beverages and has many health benefits, but only if you drink the tea in the right way. So at the very last, let's talk about how to drink tea in a scientific way in our life. So firstly, you should drink tea according to your body's conditions. So for example, for women and elderly, they should drink more fermented mild teas, so such as oolong, black tea, and ripe tea. So for men, they are more recommendable to drink more unfermented green tea, white tea, and raw tea. So these are good for detoxified and antioxidized. And secondly, there is a focus on drinking tea in different seasons, for example, in spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So more flower tea will be suitable in spring, and white tea and green tea will be suitable in summer, and oolong tea will be good for autumn, and then black tea and dark tea will be good in winter. So thirdly, a reasonable amount of tea to drink in a day, it is about 7 to 10 grams. So this is about 2 teapots of tea.
好，最后我们借手中的这一杯中国功夫茶，遥祝远方的朋友们身体健康，万事如意。
So at the end, with this cup of tea in my hand, I would like to wish all of you, my friends from afar, wish you happiness and well-being.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Ni. 谢谢倪老师。All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions to Miss Ni regarding tea? All right, we have questions. The question is from, okay, is oolong tea based off on Gongfu tea? Does it produce in your region? How large is consumption on oolong tea, black tea, and other tea in China?
Nicole, do you have the question here in the chat box?
Yes.
Need to get your help too. All right, okay. Is oolong tea based on Gongfu tea? OK， 老师这个问题大概是这样子的，
好，
同学问说，那乌龙茶是功夫茶的一种，对吗？然后它是不是在您所在的这个地区生产的一种茶？然后好了，这次 consumption， 然后在中国，就是乌龙茶、红茶和其他茶，他们的这个消费量多不多？就是大概在怎么样子的一个量，在中国？
好，在中国这个有6大基本茶类啊，green tea, white tea, yellow tea, black tea, 乌龙 tea and dark tea 啊，就6大基本茶类。那么在中国产量最大的，包括饮用人数最多的是绿茶。那么功夫茶，我们在今天这节课给大家分享的中国功夫茶，它讲的更多的是一种技艺。那它可以来冲泡乌龙茶，也可以冲泡红茶，我们有功夫红茶，也可以冲泡白茶啊，就其他的茶类也是可以用功夫冲泡的方式去冲泡的。所以刚刚有同学问，乌龙茶是不是功夫茶当中的一种？是的。我们可以这么去理解。那我们今天喝的，就刚刚我冲泡的这个乌龙茶啊，是产在了这个广东啊，这个广东省潮州啊，有一个叫凤凰山的上面。我在的地方呢是我们的江南茶区啊，是无锡。这个江南茶区主产的是绿茶和红茶。并不是我们的乌龙茶，但是在这个整个中国茶道文化啊，茶艺文化里边，我们的功夫茶是堪称是一颗明珠啊，也是现在在中国非常大家争相去应用和都会用这种方式去品饮茶叶的一种这个技艺。好。
Okay, so thank you for the question. And to answer your questions part by part. So firstly, the first layer of the question is asking, is oolong tea a form or a kind of Kung Fu tea? So to answer this question, it is very important to understand that tea is an umbrella term. So in China, under this tea umbrella, there are at least 6 major kinds of tea. For example, we talk about green tea, yellow tea, black tea, and oolong tea. So Kung Fu tea, it is not a type of tea under this tea umbrella. It's more like a skill, a technique, a process. So you can use this process, this technique to brew any kind of tea from this 6 category. So for example, you can use the Kung Fu tea making skills to brew green tea or yellow tea or oolong tea. So this is the first layer of question. So in terms of the amount of consumption of tea in China, so currently in China, the most consumed tea in people's daily life are green tea. Yeah, so today what we have demonstrated, it is the oolong tea, which is produced in a province of Guangdong, China. Specifically saying Guangdong, within Guangdong, it is in the city of Chaozhou or the Chaozhou area within this Guangdong province. And to further zoom into, it is produced in the Phoenix Mountain of the Chaozhou area. Yeah, so this is where oolong tea is come from. As to where am I situated, where I'm located in, our university, it's actually in Jiangnan, in the south of Yangtze River. So our city is Wuxi. So our region or our city are most famous for producing green tea. Yep. So this kind of, in general, overall saying, the tea tasting culture is getting more and more popular, and it is a very important treasure in the culture of China. It's a very important part of the Chinese culture. Yep. So I hope that I have answered your questions.
Thank you for your answer, Miss Ni. Okay, there's a participant ask a question in Chinese. 他说：“你好，很高兴认识你。我不太会说英语， 中国南方的云南、贵州、湖南等地有酸辣口味的特色食品，你最喜欢那里的食物是什么？
我最喜欢云南的菌菇。云南是一个就像现在这个季节去，有各种各样的那种菌类，很鲜美。
So this question is from a student. He mentions that it's such a pleasure to meeting you online through this webinar. I speak very little English. So my question is, in the southern area of China, for example, in the cities of Yunnan, in Guizhou, in Hunan, they are known for spicy flavors of food. So I would like to ask you, what kind of food you like most? What kind of spicy food you like most in the southern area or in the southern cuisine of China? So Miss Ni's reply is that I liked the kind of fungus or the mushroom food the most from Yunnan. So those are the type of food that I like the most.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Ni. There's another good question from Sunta. Sunta's question is like this: How to differentiate good utensil?
那老师，我们要怎么样判断就是茶具的好坏呢？怎么样去认识和
茶具的好坏
分辨它们？
首先，在中国最常用的茶具有2类，一类是有3类一类是这个陶的，一类是瓷的，就是这种瓷器的这种白瓷瓷具的这个我们紫砂属于陶类。那第3类就是我们现在比较常见的玻璃器皿那在我们中国功夫茶的时候呢，我们更多的用的就是紫砂壶和这个盖碗，就是陶瓷类的茶具。那你们在选择的时候首先功夫茶的刚刚讲茶具的这个容量不能太大不要太大，150毫升以内这个容量。第二个呢，我们的这个选白色最好，因为白色可以更好的衬托茶的颜色这是白色更好。那第3个呢一定要薄，就是这个壁要比较薄，要用高温烧制。如果是低温的陶瓷，它是没办法发出，就是大家不知道听没听到，我现在在用这个敲击就是用这个敲击，它会发出一种金属的声音说明这个瓷烧的时候温度非常的高。那这样的瓷会最健康，而且是最容易把茶汤的香气和滋味泡出来的。所以大家在选的时候要选择，一个是注意它的一个大小，第2个注意它的用材是以白瓷就是瓷类或者是紫砂壶类为最好。第3个注意它的颜色第4个注意它的这个烧制的工艺要薄，然后高温烧好，包括我们的这个品杯喝的这个品杯也是要小白薄小白薄透。
Okay, so how to differentiate good utensils for tea tasting? So we need to first understand that for tea wares or tea cups, they are actually made of 3 types of materials. So the first type, they are made of clay or ceramics. And the second type, they are made of porcelains. And then the third type, they are made of glass. So there are different textures or different kind of making for this kind of teacups. So the best choice will be going for the clay or porcelain making of teacups. So in terms of materials, so these are the 2 best choice. And then when it comes to the size of the teacup or teapot, so we need to know that for the choice of teapot, as what we introduced earlier, the smaller size is better, roughly about a size of 150 ml. So this is the most ideal size for clay teapot. And then when it comes to choosing teacups, the one you use to taste tea, then you need to look into the attributes of also small size and then more transparent or semi-transparent in white color. And then the thickness will be more thin, the thin type of teacups, because this kind of high pressure and high temperature make teacup will give you a better taste of the aroma when it's poured with hot tea soup. So it will be better to enjoy tea with this kind of attributes of teacups. So in summary, go in terms of material, go for clay or porcelain type of teawares. And then when you are choosing teapot, choose a smaller volume, about 150 ml. And then for teacups, go for white color, small ones, and the thin ones.
All right, thank you, Ms. Nee and Jocelyn. Ladies and gentlemen, we are sorry for any question we can't get to be answered in the chat feature due to time limitation. And thank you, Ms. Nee, for the wonderful sharing session. And yeah, I just realized that tea making is an art that involves multiple steps and utensils and methods. Thank you so much, Ms. Nee.
It's my pleasure.
Thank
An
you.
honor.
Hopefully we can, hopefully we can see you in the future.
Okay.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of today's webinar. We'd like to say thanks again to the presenter for the informative and interesting session and the audience for active participation. Thank you all. Let me pass the floor back to the host, Ms. Novita.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for our audience to join with us until last session of webinar. Thank you for our speaker to join with us today, and I hope we can meet again in other event in the future. Yeah, thank you so much for everyone. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Hmm?